I don't know if it can be heard in the background, but my laptop, one of my fans broke. One of a ball bearing and one of the fans broke. So it's like spinning really fast and like making like a sound like it's gonna take off or something. I don't know, we'll see in the footage if hopefully it doesn't make any sound. It might not be audible. It might be audible when I'm talking, but just ignore that. My laptop is on the fritz. I've been wanting to talk about this game for quite a while, and I might be wrong, but it was one of the first games I ever played in my entire life. And for it to be one of the first games I've ever played, it's one of the most unique games, like, even still to this day, I would say. There's something so unique about this game, even the title, Skullmonkeys. What provokes an image in your mind when you hear a title for a video game like Skullmonkeys? Now granted, there are a lot of wacky titles for games that are out there. I mean, one of the developers for the game also worked on a game called Earthworm Jim. So this is the type of creative direction that we're going into with a game called Skullmonkeys. Now Earthworm Jim was created by a guy named Doug TenNapel, I believe that's his name, and he worked on the first and the second game, I believe. I don't know if he worked on like the Nintendo 64 one, but later on, after Earthworm Jim, I believe Steven Spielberg wanted to get into the video game business, so they hired Doug TenNapel and his team to develop a game which ended up being like an award-winning game. I think it was award-winning, but one of the most like fantastic point-and-click games ever made, called The Neverhood. Now, in terms of creativity and just the sheer absurdity of the game, that same sort of art style that was in Earthworm Jim makes its way into this clay-mated, animated clay point-and-click. Everything in the game is animated through claymation. The point and the clicking and the main character, Clayman. And not to go too much in the Neverhood, which is also a fantastic game. It's probably one of the coolest behind the scenes of making a game, because like I said, everything in that game is claymation, so they do have a behind the scenes of them like building the props and them like showing how they implemented this claymation into the game itself, which is, for the time, extremely unique. This is in the early days of 3D, I believe Myst was out at the time, and that was one of like the first like major 3D games, and it was also point and click, but it was done through 3D shapes and such to create the world. But the Neverhood, technically a 3D game, but it was made with real life clay. And the sequel to the Neverhood, made by some of the same team, it wasn't as much of an extensive project as the Neverhood, was Skullmonkey. It's the successor to the Neverhood. It takes a completely different approach by making the whole game is a platformer, a 2D platformer. And it was released on the PlayStation 1, and it still retains a lot of the Neverhood assets, like Clayman, for instance, and his friend in the intro cutscene and such. Like, they use a lot of the same props, but a majority of the game is like digitally imposed backgrounds and such, except for the cutscenes. All the cutscenes are stop motion, and there are some of the funniest video game cutscenes of all time in this game. And the soundtrack. I cannot even describe to you this soundtrack when you're playing this game, which is a difficult platformer, by the way. Like, it gets pretty difficult in the platforming department. But there's something about a difficult platformer with just the most ridiculous, and I do mean ridiculous, soundtrack playing behind it. I mean, the main menu theme ought to let you know what kind of game you're in for. or really the intro cutscene doesn't really even tell you anything other than some little alien dude, which is a continuation from the Neverhood. He was the bad guy in the Neverhood, and he's the bad guy in this one. All that you know is that a bad guy fell from the sky.
A bad man fell from the sky.
And he landed on a monkey, a skull monkey, a monkey with a skull. He rips his skull off, puts it on his head, and calls himself the Monkey King.
There we go. Look, Ma, I'm a skull monkey.
The king of the Skullmonkeys. Clog Monkey. He's... Oh, and he rips his skin off, too. He rips the monkey's skin off like it's a potato skin or something. It's just...
In fact, I am Clog Monkey, the king of all skull monkeys.
Clog Monkey will never get away with this.
What kind of game? This is my first game, by the way. This is like legitimately like one of the first games I ever. It's one of my first video game memories. Like it might be the first game I ever played. Like I actually physically held the controller and was able to play the game. Apart from like Tekken. This is pretty much the story. Clog steals a monkey's identity, calls himself the king of the monkeys. One of the good monkeys that isn't hypnotized and propaganded from Clog Monkey sends a letter out to Clayman, the main character from Neverhood, and forces him to fly out to the monkey planet. It's got a weird name. I don't know the name. It's like Izok, planet something. Planet potato. Planet clay ball. A clay ball potato. Planet. Flies him out, and he's pretty much just gotta, like, defeat Clog Monkey before Clog makes his evil engine number 9 to destroy the Neverhood.
Evil engine number 9. Number 9! To destroy the Neverhood!
So, Clayman is back in action to save the Neverhood again, apparently. What makes this game, like, so special, apart from, like, all, like, the claymation type stuff and such, is, like, it's so funny, but it's not, like, for kids. I mean, like I said, the same people that made Earthworm Jim made this game, so that humor is, like, teetering. It's almost like, I kind of relate it to, like, Ren and Stimpy kind of comedy, where it's, like, on the border of, like, it may be animated, but it's not really for kids. But it is. I mean, it's a fun game. I was playing that game when I was, like, 2-3 years old. So, you know, I played it a lot throughout my life. But what's really unique about this game that not a lot of, like, other platforming games do, at the end of a stage, you have to jump through a clay bubble to go to the next stage. And on some stages, there's like a regular clay bubble and then a red clay bubble. And the red clay bubble is the more difficult stage. So in some cases, you have an option to pick like a normal difficulty stage, like the next stage. Or if you want the next stage to be a more difficult stage, you would jump into the red clay bubble. It's not like that on every single stage in every single world, but it's peppered throughout the entire game where you have the option to pick a more difficult stage. And that's very unique. I don't see that in a lot of games today. Usually in a platformer, you know, you may have branching paths where you could take one stage or another, but typically the difficulty is the same, relatively. But this is specifically, you can branch off into a more difficult path, which is very unique to this game. You have your basic platforming things where you jump on stuff, you have to jump on your enemies' heads, and they explode in Skull Monkey fashion. You do have like a couple weapons or a couple things, and like you got a tool belt of assortment of things. You have this like clay bird. You have a gas cloud to let you play through the stage for a little bit before going back into your own body. You get this power-up after a specific cutscene. The first stage in the second world is probably one of the greatest video game cutscenes probably ever, I would say.
Let's have been brethren.
So based on that horrific melting monkey face, they give you a power-up based on that. And to preface, I think I said there's 17 worlds, technically 18 worlds in this game. So to describe some of the worlds in Skullmonkeys, you have World 0, which is like a cut world. It's like an intro to the actual game itself. It's one of the only worlds that's very true to form in the way that the cutscenes are presented on the actual planet itself. It's a very interesting world. It's got very ambient music. It's a very chill level. There's not really too much going on in those, in World 0. Those levels are pretty chill. But the first real world is the science world, and in level 1 of the science world, it's kind of like this tutorial level. You have, I think, 3 of those stages. And after the science world, again, you have the shrines, the monkey shrines. And what's really interesting too is that the music changes per level. So there's like beginning music on the first stage, and then it changes per stage. There's more added to it on the consecutive stages of that world. And in the third world, you got the hard-boiled, where you're going through a broiler, running over metal grates and avoiding flames and fireballs. And then the fourth world is the snow world, where you have a lot of the accordion music. It's very like Switzerland, Germany, European snow, mountainous environment. And then the next world after that is probably the most disgusting world in the actual game itself. The most disgusting stage is the hot dog stages. Now these stages it's got some disgusting sounds in the soundtrack. Traversing through hot dog water and meats, and the monkeys look pretty insane in this world. And then after this world, you get to fight one of the most, like, the craziest boss, like of all time. I think it's like Headless Joe or something. Joe Hit Joe. It's literally like a developer of the game, his face, and like a monkey, like controlling the actual boss himself. It's so odd. It's so weird. And then the next stage after that, something terror. You got the monkeys that spit themselves inside out. This is where the difficulty picks up. The Y and T stages is where it gets pretty insane. There's some great cutscenes though that are in the Y and T stages. Really, really cool, really funny. claymation work is, like, peak.
Cool.
After those stages, you get back into some of the more normal worlds. You get the Monk Rushmore, the Monkey Mount Rushmore, and throughout the game too, you find secret little blue spirals, and at the end of the world, if you have all 3 blue spirals, you can go into a secret level.
Here's a little bonus room, 'cause I know you've had it tough. And here's a little bonus tune about collecting cool stuff. Yes, here's a little bonus room where you can play. Don't be frightened, don't run away. Word. You can linger, 'cause I'm your video friend. Word. Think of me as a father figure with a hand to hand. Here's a little bonus room where you don't have to worry. Take your sweet time, you need not hurry. You're looking.
But then there's also these 1970s things, and if you get 3 of them, at the end of Mount Rushmore, or Monk Rushmore, you have an option to go into the 1970s stage.
There are no monsters here. Hey, wait, look over there. I was just kidding.
And it's like a very, like, trippy 70s generic, stereotypical 70s aesthetic. Groovy. And it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool stage if you beat the stage, and it's actually fairly difficult. You're sliding around all the, like, the different platforms and such. But if you make it to the end of that world, you get like 20 or 30 extra lives, which is very useful. But after Monk Rushmore, you go into like a moon stage. It's called Sorehead, I think, where you're just falling. Like the beginning of the stage, you fall from the top all the way down to the bottom of the stage for like 3 of them. And it's pretty, it's, you know, it's interesting. It's an interesting idea. The next stage after that, you've got, I want to say it's Shards. Shards is like the first stage where it's very difficult, and the main menu music is playing in this stage. It's a pretty cool stage. I like the way the game looks overall, but that level looks pretty cool. After shards, I believe you're getting close to the end of the game. Oh, you do one of like the craziest like auto scrollers. You're on this like, it's something derby. Like you're on this like thing and it's like running throughout the entire like 2 or 3 stages. And it's like an out of control horse, but it's made of clay. But it's not a horse, it's like a clay ball with legs. And you have monkeys that are doing kamikaze like dive bombs and dropping bombs. Very interesting. It's a very interesting stage, and the music on that stage is pretty wild. And then after that stage, I believe it is either before that stage or after that stage, you have the Spanish stage, which is close to the end of the game. It's like Los Muertos, something like that. They talk about Mexican food, which is very funny. And then you have a stage boss. Oh, I didn't mention before this boss, there was also the Mantis boss after the Y and T stages. Very interesting boss, a Mantis type boss. But this boss, after the Spanish stage, is like a wizard that destroys the platforms if you don't jump on its head at the right time. After this stage, you have Worm Graveyard, which is a very odd world. I don't really know what they were really intending for this world, but it is interesting. It's got a cool, catchy song. And then after that world, you fight Clog. You finally fight Clog, and it's kind of anticlimactic. The boss isn't like, it's nothing special, but what's very interesting is after you beat the final boss, you still have to stop Evil Engine number 9. And Evil Engine number 9 starts to leave the planet, and you have to jump onto the Evil Engine number 9 to put a stop to it. And what transpires is like the most difficult stages in the entire game, and probably some of the most difficult platforming stages in platformers. Throughout the game, whenever you're platforming, you're jumping on these platforms, and they're typically fairly wide. Like, there's width to the actual, like, size of the platform that you can jump on. But in Evil Engine number 9, everything is completely zoomed back. Your character is very tiny, and not only that, but the platforms have shrunk down significantly. If you fall off a platform, you fall to your death. And it has the most ominous music, and they know it. They know what they did with this world. Evil Engine number 9 is some of the hardest stages. It's got the most stages of any world. It's got like 5 or 6 stages. And you have to jump on these ridiculous, like, electric things that shoot out these, like, blue acorns. And you have to, like, jump on the acorns before the thing shuts off, or else platforms disappear and then you fall to your death. And throughout the stages, you have to jump on multiple power things, so there's multiple acorns, so you have to jump on this one, and then you have to jump on the second one, but you have to jump on the first platform's acorns to be able to jump onto the second platform acorns before the first one disappears, so that you can make it to the second one. And it's so insanely difficult. I remember as a child, in my youth, trying to beat these stages gave me like a permanent thing on my memory. Like the stages, the soundtrack on that stage is like so permanently burned into my memory. And the last stage is like the worst of the worst. They time it to where you have to be like perfect on the last jumps to beat the game. And if you're not, then, you know, if you run out of lives, you have to go back to the first stage of that world. So if you make it all the way past, like, at the end of the 5th stage, which is debatably the hardest jump in the entire game, but eventually, you know, once you get past that, you complete the level, and then you get the ending cutscene. And all is saved. It's kind of a melancholy type ending. Clayman jumps off of the engine before it explodes, if I recall correctly. But he's like floating in space, taking pictures like at the beginning of the game. And then there's like a song and dance at the end of the game.
Yeah, Clock is dead.
So overall, I mean, I really like the game. It's one of the first games that like I ever played, and I thought it was really cool. A very unique game. It's kind of it's very much an underground type of a game, I guess, but not a lot of people talk about it when they talk about platforming games. It's never really brought up too much, but it should be because of the like the art direction, the way the game looks, the way it operates. It's very unique, even compared to like stuff that gets remembered as like old platforming games, like you know, like Rayman or Earthworm Jim, or you know, even big ones like Sonic or Mario. A fantastic game, and the soundtrack for the game is like one of the best soundtracks. It's like a super fun soundtrack. Like they really had fun making this game, and they really had fun making the soundtrack too. And you can tell by playing the game, the developers really just had fun with it, and it's fun playing it too. I mean, especially those cutscenes. The cutscenes, they hold up today, and they're so funny. And very detailed with the stop motion animation, claymation. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that for a bit. For just a little bit. For a little bit. Fun game. Really fun game. If there's anyone that can find that game out there, if you're like a PlayStation 1 game collector, definitely try to find Skullmonkeys. It's actually kind of a rare game, especially with the case, because the case has that like... It has the case that like DVD cases have, where like you can like turn it from side to side, and then it like has like a different picture. Like... The case of the game has like a Skullmonkeys skull, and then there's like a moving eyeball is one of those moving things. You move from side to side and the eyeball goes up and down. Very rare, but I would recommend looking for it, because it is a fun game to play, if not only for like the cutscenes, but for like the animation, the music and such. Really cool. Yep. Whatever.